litigation and collective negotiations. May I have a second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we will now reconvene in executive session.
Is this
We
a
will
session that is
reconvene.
of labor relations? I mean, does the faculty? You know, we thought it was well-deserved, especially for the ones that are committed to central office service.
Yeah.
You know, we appreciated that, you know, we couldn't be here to.
But we offset it by cutting 10% of the faculty.
Well, don't joke, that's in the report tonight.
All right? We are reconvening the public meeting, and we will take up the following items for approval. Action item 1A is the approval of the minutes of the April 27th, 2026 meeting. I move the approval of action item 1A. Do I have a second? Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate. Any opposed, any abstentions? This matter is approved. We will now address the policy calendar. Action item 1B1 is a resolution to authorize the fiscal 2027 university operating and capital budget allocations. This item requests approval of the fiscal year 2027 operating and capital budget allocations for the City University of New York. The state enacted budget and the New York City executive budget provide a total of $4.9 billion in operating funding for the senior colleges, community colleges, system administration, shared services, and academic programs. The state has also appropriated $650.2 million in new capital funds, and the city has committed $57.1 million in new capital funding, supporting a 10-year capital plan totaling $1.6 billion. The resolution adopts the fiscal 2027 operating budget beginning July 1, 2026, and the capital budget allocations for projects authorized by the City University Construction Fund to support critical maintenance, infrastructure, and programmatic initiatives. This item is presented for the board's consideration. Senior Vice Chancellor and Chief Financial Officer Kenneth Godner will provide a brief presentation. Ken?
Okay. I'm going to bring up the presentation. Go. Here. There we go. All right.
Here we are.
Okay, so we're just going to talk about the enacted budget. You know, the good news here is that we received the full $72 million up from the executive, which only had 36, which paid for the full cost of the collective bargaining. However, we're disappointed to receive no additional funding for fringe, leaving us $29 million short of what we needed to pay for the actual cost of fringe benefits. Here, new from exec, $3 million for the New York Opportunity Promise Scholarship at the comprehensive colleges, $835,000 for Jumpstart at Medgar Evers, $250,000 for the Clear Clinic at the law school, and an additional 2.5 AI, bringing the total to 7.5 for AI in the enacted budget. So these are the levels, most of which are what we saw before, but those I've highlighted where things have changed. Here, if you recall, I showed a similar slide saying a bunch of stuff that normally doesn't get funded in exec, wasn't funded in exec, and that we hoped that it would get funded in the enacted budget, most of which has happened. There is an increase of $600,000 in SEEK, which brings the total closer to $40 million. and there's an additional $825,000 for the Asian American Research Institute. And as we know, there was a reduction, elimination for funding for the Du Bois Institute at Medgar Evers, $750,000. Moving to community colleges, $8 million is new and added to the 10.6 from last year that you see there. So we received funding the last 3 years. They've continued the old and added another 8, which is actually very good news. And Reconnect is still as it was in Exact. On the capital side, the $514 million for the state of good repair is a major investment, even though it's short of what we had asked for. Here we feel like there's never enough money for our state of good repair, but that this was an actual significant investment on the part of the state, and we are fairly pleased with that. This just gives you sort of the total appropriation, and which is buttressed by a lot of reappropriation, almost $4.6 billion, of which the lion's share is for the senior colleges, with another $600 million for community colleges, and smaller amounts for the climate initiatives and the challenge grant. So with the new appropriations and the reappropes, that brings our total up to $5.23 billion this year. And that is really what's new in the state budget. And I would happy to answer questions.
I've got a couple questions. On the capital, and maybe this is Mohammed, given the money we have, where does that take us on our state of good repair under our strategic plan to move it towards, I mean, we started at 8%, which is worse than shocking, but where does this get us?
We're actually, thank you for the question. We're actually doing extremely well. I mean, we moved from 23% when we started out on the strategic plan. We're now about 35% of the state of good repair. So, in only a couple of years, trending in the right direction. When the chancellor came into, was named chancellor, we were spending about $170 million on the capital side a year. This year we broke the record, $554 million. In part, we've been getting a lot more money from the state. So on that, I'm very pleased about. On the city side, we really haven't done well. We didn't do well with the previous administration. The one before that, we didn't do well. At least this administration, we're heading in the right direction. We got $50 million, which is matched by the state, which will get us $100 million. In our request, we asked for $100 to get us up to $200 million. But the reality is, we're putting a lot more pressure on our partner, DASNY, to complete more projects on time. We also have moved from 25% of our projects being done in-house, and now we're doing 40% of our projects, leaving the more complicated projects for DASNY. So we're being more targeted. And then I think lastly, we know a lot more about our facilities because we did this facility assessment. So we're able to now be able to do more targeted in terms of systems that might be coming down, and be able to do a lot more targeted strategic sort of investment. But we still have a long way to go. Our need is about almost $10 billion, and we're getting about 1-point-something billion in a 5-year plan. So we still have a tremendous need, but the chancellor was asked at the budget hearing just today about, do you want to be at 100%? Of course we want to be 100%, but we need you to give us more money, right? I mean, that's the reality, right? We're sort of dealing with that issue, but we're moving in the right direction.
We need to get the money, and we need to be able to spend it.
Yep.
I mean, it's operational also.
Yep.
Ken, one other question. There are certain mandatory increases that come along every year rent, utilities, and stuff like that. We've always had problems getting funding for those. How badly did we, I shouldn't put it that way. How did we do this year on that?
Not well. We did not get additional state funding for those costs. You know, it was part of our top line ask, you know, we asked for the full funding of the collective bargaining, the fringe, and then those, what I would call sort of inflation-related costs, right, on the OTPS side, energy and rent. And in the enacted budget, there is no additional money for that purpose.
And do we have a sense of how many dollars that has to be made up from other sources we're talking about for
I
this year?
think that we had said 31 for the, what?
Yeah, maybe, I was thinking 25, but 25 to 30 million.
Yeah, I thought it was 31, including the extra pieces, but around $30 million of, just on that stuff.
So we're sure close to 30 on fringe and close to 30 on mandatory, so we're gonna have to make up.
Yeah, that's correct.
Comes out of one of our pockets.
You know, there's no other source of revenue, as I constantly wind up coming back to, right? In my old job, we could always hope that some tax revenue would float in, but that's not the case here, right? I mean, the tuition we collect is the tuition we collect, and then it's the state and the city. There's no other, meaningful source of funds, right?
And we're still working from the mayor's executive budget.
That's right.
There will be an enacted budget hopefully by the end of the month. And if
There will be an enacted budget by 6:30, I'm confident.
And at that point, if there are significant changes to be made, you will come back to us.
Indeed, we will.
Okay, I'm going to move the approval of policy item 1B1, which is the budget. Do I have a second? I've used my time, so are there other questions or comments or discussion on this? No. We did well in some areas, less well in other areas, but this is what we work with for the coming year. Let's proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please so indicate.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? This matter is approved. Policy item 1B2 is a resolution to authorize an academic excellence fee for the Master of Science in Clinical Trial Management Program at York College. This item requests approval for York College to establish an academic excellence fee of $800 per semester for students enrolled in the Master of Science in Clinical Trial Management Program, effective fall 2027. The Clinical Trial Management Program is the only program of its kind within CUNY and is nationally recognized, preparing graduates for careers in clinical research, administration, and regulatory compliance. The fee will be used exclusively to support and enhance the program, including advising and mentoring, academic and quantitative support, career services, professional development, course materials, speaker series, and conference travel for student research. The item is presented for the board's consideration. We have York Provost Derek Brazil available if needed. I move the approval of policy item 1B2. Do I have a second? Thank you.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, let's proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please so indicate. Any opposed? Any abstentions? This matter is approved. Policy item 1B3 is a resolution to approve modifications to the pricing structure for the executive graduate program at Baruch College. This item requests approval for Baruch College to revise the pricing structure for its executive graduate degree program beginning in fall 2027. The board previously approved the pricing structure in 2018 and 2019 that included a single capped program price and a per semester executive program supplement. Baruch has reviewed that structure and is proposing a revised model that aligns with CUNY's standard tuition and fee practices. Under this resolution, executive program supplements will shift from a per semester charge to a per credit charge beginning in fall 2027. That resolution also removes the total program cost cap for all executive programs and continues the waiver of the out-of-state tuition differential for non-resident students enrolled in these programs. Funds generated by the program supplement will continue to support the direct costs of each executive program, with any surplus supporting the schools in which the program is housed. This resolution supersedes the 2018 and 2019 resolutions related to Baruch's executive programs. It's presented for the board's consideration. We have Baruch Senior Vice President Linda Essig and Vice President Elena Gallego available if necessary. I move the approval of policy items 1B3.
Second.
Have a second. Any questions or discussion on this? Seeing none, let's proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please indicate.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? This matter is approved. Policy item 1B4 is a resolution to authorize a contract with Veolia ES Technical Solutions LLC to manage CUNY's hazardous waste and emergency response needs. The university issued a request for proposals in December 2025. 3 vendors submitted responsive proposals. An evaluation committee selected Veolia ES Technical Solutions LLC based on the qualifications and stated criteria contained in the RFP. The university is seeking approval to enter into a contract with Veolia ES Technical Solutions LLC for an amount not to exceed $7,775,234 for a term of 5 years from December 2026 to December 2031. We have Senior Executive Director absent here. If we need any more information, I move the approval of policy item 1B4. Do I have a second?
A second. We desperately need to be doing this.
Kind of hard to avoid. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, let's proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please so indicate.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? It is approved. Policy item 1B5 is a resolution to authorize cooperative purchase agreement for computer equipment and related hardware with CDW Government LLC. CUNY is a member of the Educational and Institutional Cooperative Services, Inc., or ENI, a higher education consortium that has an existing contract with CDW Government LLC, or CDWG. The university has determined that the ENI consortium contract offers advantageous pricing. A notice was placed in the New York State Contract Reporter, consistent with state law and university policy. The current contract with CDWG expires on August 5th of this year, and the university is seeking to enter into a new contract for the term from August 2026 through August 2031 for an amount not to exceed $12 million per year, totaling $60 million over the life of the contract. CDWG will participate in the University Mentor Protege Program to promote development of MWBEs and SDVOBs through training and regular business reviews. Chief Procurement Officer Sterla is available. I move the approval of policy item 1B5. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any questions? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please so
Aye.
indicate. Any opposed? This matter is approved. Policy item 1B6 is a resolution to authorize a contract with Empire State Library Delivery Network for material delivery. The Office of Library Services has contracted with Empire Library Delivery Services since 2013 to provide intercampus and interlibrary delivery services for the CUNY libraries. The service is essential to maintaining efficient access to physical materials among CUNY colleges and with other participating libraries, with approximately 17,543 items shipped in the 2024-2025 year. Empire is the only provider operating a library delivery network of this scope in New York State, with established routes and infrastructure connecting the public and the academic library systems. The current contract expires on June 30th, 2026, and the university is seeking to renew the contract as a single source for 3 years, from July 1, 2026 through July 30, 2029, in an amount not to exceed $467,896, subject to the approval of the New York State Office of the State Controller. interim University Dean of Libraries, Waldman, is available. I move the approval of policy item 1B6. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions, discussions? Seeing none, let's proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please so indicate.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, this matter is approved. Policy item 1B7 is a resolution to authorize the purchase of Tableau Server, Core, Creator, and Cloud licenses. CUNY relies on enterprise business intelligence and data visualization tools to support institutional research, academic planning, enrollment management, compliance reporting, and evidence-based decision-making across central office and the campuses. Tableau Plus provides a fully hosted software-as-a-service environment and allows reports to be shared with key stakeholders, including the Board of Trustees. The current subscription expires on August 11, 2026, and the university is seeking authorization to purchase licenses for a 3-year term from August 12, 2026 through August 11, 2029, for a total not to exceed cost of $1,500,000, subject to the approval of the Office of the State Controller. Chief Data Strategist Littman and University Director Uber are available. I move the approval of policy item 1B7. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion on this? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please
Aye.
indicate.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter is approved. Policy item 1B8 is a resolution to authorize a contract with College Board for AccuPlacer at the City University of New York. CUNY serves prospective and enrolled students who are English language learners and needs valid, reliable assessment to support student success and appropriate ESL and English course placement. Excuse me. AccuPlacer, developed by the College Board, is an online computer-adaptive placement testing system that supports these needs through exams in reading, writing, listening, and math. The current contract ends on September 30th of this year, and the university is seeking to renew the contract for 5 years from October 1, 2026 through September 30, 2031 for an amount not to exceed $919,006. Chief Data Strategist Littman, Director Uber are still available. I move the approval of policy item 1B8. Do I have a
Second.
questions, discussion? Seeing none. Move to a vote. All those in favor, please so indicate.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, this matter is approved. Policy item 1B9 is a resolution to authorize a 5-year renewal of a contract with Zenigrade Corporation for university-wide adult and continuing education student enrollment and management system. Zenigrade currently serves the university's centrally designated system of record for ACE enrollment, supporting tuition-based, grant funding, and contract-based programs, and integrating with enterprise systems including CUNY First and the Learning Management System. The current contract expires on August 25, 2026, and the university is seeking board authorization to renew the agreement as a single source for an additional 5-year term from August 26, 2026 through August 25, 2031, subject to the approval of the New York State Office of State Controller, for a total amount not to exceed $358,466. Vice Chancellor Lauren Anderson is available. I move the approval of policy item 1B9. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those, any discussion? None. Then we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please so indicate.
Aye.
Any opposed? This matter is approved. Policy item 1B10 is a resolution to authorize an extension of a contract with Turnitin LLC for university-wide plagiarism detection and academic integrity services. Turnitin Feedback Studios is a university centrally supported platform integrated with our learning management system and embedded in thousands of course sections each term. CUNY has used Turnitin successfully since 2015. The current contract expires on September 17, 2026, and the university is seeking to extend the agreement for 1 additional year to maintain continuity of service while a competitive procurement is underway. This extension is being pursued as a single source because Turnitin is the sole provider of the proprietary Feedback Studio platform and its original database, including CUNY's historical repository of student work and full Brightspace integration. The university is seeking to extend the contract for 1 year from September 17, 2026 through September 16, 2027 in an amount not to exceed $444,800, subject to the approval of the Office of the State Controller. Interim Senior University Dean Silberman is available. I move the approval of policy item 1B10. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Seeing none, this matter is approved. Policy item 1B11 is a resolution to approve a contract with Digital Pulp for the complete redesign of the CUNY SBH's website. The CUNY Graduate School of Public Health and Health Policy has identified a need for a professional website redesign and digital strategy services to modernize its public-facing website. Following a competitive RFP process in which 13 proposals were received and evaluated, Digital Pulp was identified as the most qualified responsible proposal based on directly relevant higher education and public health experience, design approach, technical implementation plan, and overall value. The university is seeking approval to enter into a contract in an amount not to exceed $618,157 for a 5-year term from July 2026 to July 2031. SBH Senior Associate Dean Novak's available. I move the approval of policy item 1B10. Do I have a second?
I'll second it, but I'm not promising to vote for it. I'll
Okay,
have some questions.
please. Is
Is the-
Dean Novak
So
here?
why second?
Please join us.
Well, to get it up for discussion, I mean, but I'm not,
On his list?
I have trouble, just on its face, paying $618,000 to design a website. And so that would be where I would start. But is there something more about this that we need to know? Website design doesn't cost $618,000.
So I have to preface this by saying I'm 3 weeks into this job, so I was.
Please sit down.
Take the microphone. Hit the little button. It's on. Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you so much. I gathered some information, but I have not been part of the RFP process, so hopefully I can answer any questions that you have. From what I understand, there has not been any large overhaul to the website since 2016. There was a refresh in 2020, so this is the first real large overhaul that is much more than cosmetic. So it goes down to the coding, and it's every single page. And basically starting from scratch. The actual work entailed there is $400,000, and the remainder of the contract, that $218,000, is a yearly maintenance fee. So that's $218,000 over the following 4 years. That piece can actually still be negotiated down after the initial piece is approved, and which we plan to do so. And from what I understand, this was the most equipped vendor.
Is CUNY Central paying for this out of funds, or is the school actually planning to allocate this $600,000 out of its operating funds?
Yes, the school is planning to allocate that funding.
I can't vote for this. It just doesn't, it's so far out from anything that fits with my experience about what it ought to cost to.
With all due respect to the faculty trustee, I have had the unfortunate privilege of building 4 websites, one at a small college in Boston and another at a sophisticated executive center at Harvard, these are not small projects. These are very complicated projects, particularly when they have to protect, and I would, Eusebio Formosa, who's here, given the cyber climate that we live in, it is far more complex than it's ever been to protect the integrity of the data behind that. The last site that I built was almost $500,000. I'm not shocked by this at all. So I think that anyone who's had any experience with building websites of this kind, they can run upwards of $1 million. So I can't speak to the procurement, but I'm not, council would not even question the integrity of the procurement. So I respectfully disagree with you.
Well, I respect your disagreement, but I would say I do have some expertise developing and operating websites, and
For schools.
I've been involved in big projects, and I think we're paying for a lot of the infrastructure in the university to protect our websites. We're doing it generally so that we don't have to do it in each contract, and I think this needs a period
That's a
of
different
review before we just go do this. If Seb says that this is the right thing to do, I would very seriously consider changing my position eventually. But I'd like to see a review of this.
So the other thing that I'll say is that I think you need to keep in mind, in addition to what the cost of these things are, is that particularly for the School of Professional Studies, which is an online school, right? All our websites need to be, it's public health?
It's public health.
Oh, okay, so then,
Never mind.
yeah.
Okay. Anything further on this? Hearing none. We're going to proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please indicate by raising a hand, so I can do a count on this. Opposed? Abstentions? The matter is approved. Let's keep an eye on this as we move forward. Policy item 1B12 is a resolution to approve the Personnel Matters Report of the Finance and Administration Committee. The June 2026 Personnel Matters Report is generated from employee data entered into the university system of record between March 20 and May 1st of this year. Does not contain appointments that have been submitted as individual resolutions. The report contains 25 ECP actions, including 11 regular appointments, 3 interim appointments, 3 separations, and 8 salary increases. Executive Vice Chancellor COO Batista is available. I move the approval of policy item 1B12. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions on this? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please so
Aye.
indicate. Any opposed? Any abstentions? This matter is approved. Policy items 1B13 through 1B29 are resolutions to appoint regular and interim members of the Executive Compensation Plan. If you want to pull anyone out for individual discussion, we will do so, but otherwise we'll consider them all together. Central Office, Matthew Manfredi as Associate Vice Chancellor of University Human Resources, Operations and Services. Evan Silverman as Senior University Dean of Academic Innovation. Michael Waldman, University Dean of Libraries and Information Resources. Maureen Becker as University Dean for Health and Human Services. At Bronx Community College, Alexander Ott, Dean for Curricular Advancement and Student Achievement. At Brooklyn College, Shalel Sims as Dean of the Murray Koppelman School of Business. At City College, Stephen O'Brien as Dean of the Division of Sciences. At the College of Staten Island, Natalia G. Holtzman as Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost. Burnett Joyner as Dean of the School of Education and Social Work. Thomas D. Tressler Gellock or Gellock? Gellock, thank you, as Vice President for Student Affairs. At the CUNY Graduate Center, Elise Parham as Interim Vice President for Student Affairs. At the CUNY School of Medicine, Ann Braun as Interim Senior Associate Dean of Institutional Advancement and Chief Advancement Officer. At Hunter College, Jennifer Tugin as Dean of the School of Education, Provost, and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Student Success. And, I'm sorry, take that back. Ignore the last several words. It's Jennifer Tootin as Dean of the School of Education. At Lehman College, Tanya Ortega as Vice President for Administration and Finance. At Medgar Evers College, Anthony Pittman as Dean of the School of Education. And City Tech, Sandra Gordon as Chief Campus Counsel. And at Queensborough Community College, Chu Ping Han as Dean of Academic Initiatives. There are representatives of each of the colleges. Do we have any questions on any of these? I move the approval of policy items 1B13 through 1B29. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions on any of these appointments? Seeing none, let's move to a vote. All those in favor, please indicate.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? These matters are approved. With no more items on the policy calendar, I'll adjust section 2, which is information item. There are 4 information items on the agenda. Item 2A is the update of the state and city budget. We've had an update on the state budget. The city budget is in works. We will move on that when we have more information. Item 2B is the Q3 financial update.
Thank you.
Senior Vice Chancellor, Chief Financial Officer Gardner, are you ready to go through this with the full committee?
Do we have it on the?
Yeah.
Okay.
What time do you have to get there?
They say 2 hours before, but it's ridiculous. The game starts at 8:30.
We don't need a quorum.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
came back. But I can.
I think we're doing the 50 million.
We're doing 50, I thought it said, oh, it was 50, I thought it was the third quarter.
Okay, let's do the Q3 report.
Yeah, believe me, I do.
Okay,
Not me.
Okay.
all right.
Okay, I'll do it right now.
I think this is a high level.
Speak up, speak up.
Yep. This is a high-level overview of the Q3 report. You can see that the structural deficit is up from FY '25 from 35 going up to 72. The structural deficit is now projected to grow by 37. That's that difference based on the updated Q3 numbers. So the increase in the structural deficit is partly unfunded mandated that the colleges need to absorb, along with increases for the skilled trade workers and their contracts, or I should say, determinations done by the controller. There are 10 colleges now projected to end the year with the structural deficit. 11 colleges, with no structural deficit. 11 which have a structural deficit but have sufficient reserves to cover them. 15 colleges in total meet the 5% reserve requirement, and 4 colleges, the same 4 colleges, are going to end the year with a cash deficit. Overall, our expenses increased by 11% compared with last year, principally due to the collective bargaining increases. And you can see that makes up 267% of the increase alone, with OTPS picking up the rest. College and tuition and fee combined revenues are up just 1%, or about $8 million. That is the overview of the Q3, if there are questions.
And
2 quick observations. One is, if you look on page 14, you've got a wonderful new column in a table that shows the percentage of the college resources percent of total for each campus. So you see a campus like Baruch in which it's 56% local, college revenues supporting it. The lowest campus is 21%. And so you can see that the degree to which, that's for the senior colleges, you can see the variation in the extent to which the university allocates support to the campuses. And some of that is historically valid. I mean, some of them have big campuses, et cetera. But I think it's going to illustrate to us on an ongoing basis that there is a systematic and continuing inequity in the way that the university supports the campuses. I know it's hard to stop, but we need eventually to have a more rational system for allocating resources. The second one is if you look at page 41, you see the situation at Queens College is really, really, really distressing. And I don't know what we need to do, but the situation was bad and it seems to have gone to worse. I mean, if you look at their tuition revenue was below target by 2,000 last year. Their financial plan was to get it to, was worse, 4 million, sorry. Then the first quarter, it was 5.4 million down. The mid-year, it was 7.7 million down. And at the end here, it's 8 million down projected for the end of the year. So all the things we've been doing in this area, they haven't been getting better. And this is a critical problem. The other thing that's happening is that we have 34 fewer professors at Queens now than we had 2 years ago, which is obviously, I mean, if you're not selling hot dogs, you don't need the producers. But on the other hand, it's not good for a college to not be replacing the people who leave. I mean, in some programs to innovate, they need, so I just, if I was going to say there's a campus that needs the alarm bell rung, I'm here ringing the bell. That this is one that really needs help, and Queens is a wonderful college and a flagship of CUNY, and we need to rescue Queens. This is unsustainable and awful, and so. Those are the two things that I would say about this.
Well, please.
So two things. Mostly about your last one, we're equally concerned about the situation at Queens. I know a thing or two about that that school too, and the team that the budget office with Ken and academic affairs put together continues to work together on trying to take corrective measures and then also think about some investments, right? Luckily, the numbers so far in terms of fall enrollment, right, are in the blue for the first time in a long time. There have to be a lot of blue, right, to get over that, but you don't get there. But we're equally concerned, Professor Benton, about that. It's something that we've been discussing with the leadership, and I do know that on the enrollment side, they've taken a bit more aggressive action on that, but it's going to take more than that. So point well taken. Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you.
it's a wonderful, wonderful campus, and we need to do, and I know you are wanting to do everything we can to help get them righted again.
Anything further on this? On information item 2C is the biannual update on state one-time funding. It was included in our materials, unless people have questions on that. The money has been and is being spent, and that's and you can look at all the categories on that. That goes forward. And policy item 2D is the fiscal matters information report. Senior Vice Chancellor Gardner. Is there anything there we should be aware of that's unusual?
No, nothing unusual.
All right. The only other item I have is a resolution that the Knicks should win in 4. Is there a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, we will move forward with that. With no other items on the agenda, I move that the meeting be adjourned. Second? Any objection?